Okay, next we've got Mike and the high wing sling. Mike, can you unmute yourself there? You there, Mike?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly. I just want to just point out something. This bottom left-hand photograph. There's a picture of James holding a piece of paper there. I'll just zoom in on the paper. What is that thing? I kind of
That's proving flight authorization. So we closed up our factory on the 18th of December, and the CIA came to visit us. A whole team from the CIA came to visit us the day before, and they promised us that they'd give us a proving flight authorization so that we could fly on the last day before we closed. And we received it at about 1 p.m. and then we test flew shortly after that. First of all, I'd like to say how's it to all the friends. I see there's lots of friends that I have at the EAA chapter here listening in. This is our high wing. This is our first prototype. This is on the 18th of December. This is just before our first test flight. That picture that you showed earlier, Neil, that was us getting the proving flight authorization. This aircraft, we were pretty confident about the performance and the handling because we'd had so much experience by this time, you know. So that little video I showed you was James and myself deciding who would fly the aircraft first. And we decided to make that decision by doing a little simple ching chong cha. I won that, but what I didn't show you then, James was unhappy about losing, so he challenged me to arm wrestling to be able to come along. And so we arm wrestled right there and then in front of all of our staff, and he won that, so he came along. So the two of us did the first test flight together. Neil, you can go to the next slide.
Okay. Oh, sorry, back again.
That slide. So there's a photograph of the next slide. That one. The photograph of the TSI, the standard TSI on the right, and our new high wing on the left. The similarities between the two, we're using the same wing. The firewall forward is the same. The rear of the fuselage is the same, and the empennage is the same. So you can go on, Neil, to the next slide. That's the staff that stayed on to watch the test flight. James and I were wearing like a leopard skin print shirt each just for fun. They'd been given to us by one of our staff members, and we put those on for fun for our test flight. Okay, Neil. So after we'd done the first test flight, which was really successful and without incident, we then started in the process of testing various different sizes and shapes where we felt we needed to improve on things. We have, luckily for us, we have an aircraft which has exceptional handling in the Sling TSI. And so we have this benchmark against which we can measure ourselves. So we want to get the handling of the high wing to be the same. Of course, it's never the same with the high wing and the low wing. It's slightly different. But we are at the moment, and this has been the same process that we've gone through with all of our aircraft. Each time that we have a new aircraft, then we would change the size of the ailerons, the horizontal stabilizer, the vertical stabilizer, elevator, rudder, etc. And that's what we're busy with right at the moment. The handling is quite different to a low wing, taking a bit of getting used to, but it's really fantastic flying this aircraft. I'll tell you a little bit more about the specs in a minute. You can go on to the next slide, Neil. So it's just a front view. You can see which way the doors open. You go into the next slide, Neil. Something I wanted something that I was always worried about with the design of the aircraft was that if you're turning in the circuit, that you won't have good visibility with the high wing, which is often the case. So what we decided to do with this is take the front windscreen up quite high onto the top there, which you can see, so that if you are turning in the circuit or you're making a turn, you can still see quite well. You just have to lean forward a little bit and you can see very well where you're going. So that was, I'm happy that that's worked out so well. Okay, next slide. Yeah. This is the interior of our test aircraft. We're making two prototypes. We're making a tricycle gear and we're making a tail dragger as well. This is the first one is obviously is the tricycle gear. The tail dragger will only be ready in a few months' time. We don't have all the panels in place so that we can get to everything easily to check on whatever we need to check on. I'll tell you just a little bit of interesting things that we've found so far is that the ground roll is marginally longer than on the low wing, and we've accounted for that with the the difference in between a low wing and a high wing, and the landing roll also is a little bit shorter on this aircraft, but at least it doesn't float as long down the runway. The climb out is slightly better than the TSI, and the speeds are very similar. So it was great. We thought that the speeds would be quite a lot less with the high wing, but actually they're not. At full speed, at maximum speed, full throttle, with the prop set on finest pitch, the low wing aircraft is maybe 1 knot faster than this aircraft. That we're getting the handling to be almost the same. So it's a very comfortable, good visibility. I love the visibility on the high wing. It's not something that I really have experience with. So it's worked out really well. We can go on to the next slide, Neil. In the early years, we used to bring in test pilots to help us. Now we are experienced enough, and we're doing all the tests flying ourselves, myself, Sean, and James. We still do, although this aircraft is fitted with a ballistic parachute, we are wearing parachutes because we are taking the aircraft to the limits, and we're still learning about it. There are things that we are working on, as I said, the handling, getting that absolutely perfect. And the fuel system is the other thing that we have to sort out. With the wing having almost no dihedral, getting the fuel in the 2 tanks on the wing to not slosh out and run away down to the end of the tanks is something that we're working on right now. We think we have it solved, but we still have some testing to do. I think that's it, Neil. One more slide. I think it's just a tail wheel picture. Yeah. So that's the tail wheel that we're busy testing at the moment, the whole rear fuselage. And we've got quite a nice beefy tail wheel with a carbon fiber spring over there. Busy with the testing on that at the moment. The one thing that's been different about this aircraft, the initial intention was to fly one of these aircraft to Oshkosh this year, at least last year. But because of COVID-19, what we did on this occasion, which is a little bit different, is that we did all the structural testing first, and then we've now started the flight testing. So we are very happy to be flying an aircraft where we've completed the structural testing. If we have to make some changes, like to the empennage, for instance, or to the rear fuselage or something like that, then we have to retest that, but that'll be quite quick and easy for us. I think that's it for
Mike. Just one other point on that high wing. I noticed you mentioned about the fuel running around in the wing.
Yeah.
I saw that there were 2 look like vent pipes, sort of pointing forward on the was it the left hand or right hand wingtip? Yeah. Are those fuel tank vents?
Yes, those are fuel tank vents. We we decided to try that and put the fuel tank vents up like that, but they look terrible. So we are now venting it out to the top of the wingtips. So we've changed that.
That's I think the aesthetics can, if I may comment, sorry, Neil, taking a bit of time here, but the aesthetics of the airplane, what you lose with those vents facing forward is going to save you so much grief in the future. I've just had bad incident with airplane that wasn't venting correctly. And to see you guys doing that, whatever you do, please stick to those vents facing forward. So
yeah, we're going to have them. We're going to have it on the wingtip, but we're going to have it pressurized from the wingtip.
Dead right.
Yeah.
Question for Mike.
Yeah.
Hello, Mike. It's Athol. Well done. Fantastic talk.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see it actually flying. Mike, how many hours have you already done with the aircraft at this stage?
Athol, we've only. I flew it this afternoon again. We've only done 8.5 hours. So we do little modifications and we write up all the data, and then we have pre-flight briefings, post-flight briefings, discussions, brainstorming. Then we go on to the next flight. So we've only done 8.5 up to now.
Well, that's quite a lot actually, if you consider you only flew it towards the end of December.
Yeah.
A question for Mike as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, tell me, when you do the tailwheel conversion onto them, what do you project the short field capabilities will be of the High Wing?
To be honest, I don't think it's going to be much better than the Sling TSI has at the moment. It's not really a short field. It's not a STOL aircraft at all. It's a cruising aircraft, and that's the wing we have. You know that. So, you know, at sea level, it'll be like 200 meters, something like that. But we still have to do the testing for that. It's not going to be much different to the tricycle gear or the TSI as we have it.
Cool, thanks.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Mike, that kit, that center section, that will come complete, I take it.
Yes. So the center section comes complete with all the panels in, with the controls in. So it's you know, it's a huge amount of work to put it together. And we decided, as I mentioned before, to go with carbon fiber in the center section so that we can make an aircraft that's extremely strong and without struts. The without struts decision was mostly a marketing decision.
Cool.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, any other questions for Mike?
Comes standard with absolutely everything in. You don't need to add a single thing into that aircraft. The only thing you could add in if you wanted to, and we have them in our demo aircraft, and that's a parachute. The parachute doesn't come as standard. So interesting, something else that's interesting is that we've increased the weight, the maximum all-up weight of this aircraft from 950, which is the TSI, and this aircraft is 1,050. And the reason we've increased that is because the empty weight is about 70 kilograms heavier than the TSI. And we've also got slightly larger fuel tanks. So we increased the maximum all-up weight by 100 kilograms. And the aircraft, the TSI, for anybody that's flown a TSI fully loaded, you'll know it performs incredibly well, even fully loaded on a hot, humid day here on the reef, and with high density altitude. So we were able to do that easily with this high wing. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks,
I'm happy to have spoken to you. Thanks for
Yeah,
inviting me, Neil.
glad to get the sound back. Yeah, and well done. Thank you for that.